The Galactic Empire was vast, an unparalleled behemoth stretching across millions of star systems, each world governed by imperial rulers who bowed to a singular authority. The empire had been built on the bones of countless civilizations, advanced technologies, and an unyielding will to maintain order. Its military was supreme, and its reach stretched across the galaxy with an iron fist. For centuries, nothing had threatened its dominance. Every uprising was swiftly crushed, every insurrection quelled before it could grow into anything more than a flicker of rebellion. The empire had weathered countless storms, alien races, resource wars, civil unrest, but none of them had posed a true threat to its stability. And yet, as they sat in the war room of the Imperial Command, the top generals and strategists of the Galactic Empire could not ignore the unsettling truth. A new and unseen threat was looming, one that no one had foreseen. General Morn, said the Emperor's advisor, a shadowy figure whose true face was always obscured by the hood of his cloak. The intelligence reports are clear. The humans are advancing. Their numbers are growing. And they are unlike anything we've encountered before. Morn, a battle-hardened veteran who had once crushed entire star systems with his fleets, furrowed his brow. He had heard rumors of these so-called humans, a primitive species originating from a remote, insignificant planet called Earth. What are you saying, advisor? A primitive race is threatening us? Surely, it's a mistake. The advisor's voice was cold and precise, laced with an underlying fear. They are not what they appear. Their potential is far greater than anything we've encountered. They're spreading like a wildfire, colonizing new systems at an alarming rate. And their warships. They're unlike anything we've seen before. Their technology is far more advanced than it should be. We believe they're tapping into methods of faster-than-light travel that we thought were impossible. General Morn gripped the armrests of his chair, his mind racing. Faster-than-light travel? But that's impossible. How can they? They found a way, the advisor interrupted, his voice low. And they're coming for us. The room fell silent. Every person in the room understood the gravity of what had just been said. The Empire had known for centuries that the galaxy was vast, filled with innumerable species and civilizations, many of which had advanced far beyond the capabilities of the humans. But now, for the first time in millennia, the Empire was facing an unknown quantity of species that, until recently, had been considered insignificant. Prepare the fleet, Morn ordered. We will crush this threat before it becomes anything more than a nuisance. The advisor spoke once more, his voice quiet and ominous. It's not just about the fleet, General. It's about the humans themselves. Their minds, they're different. They adapt, evolve, learn faster than any species we've encountered. And their resilience, it's beyond measure. They are relentless. This may be our greatest threat yet. The Imperial fleet was massive. Hundreds of warships, equipped with the most advanced weaponry known to the Empire, floated in formation, preparing to launch their assault. The target, a small, uninhabited star system on the edge of the known galaxy. Intelligence had indicated that the humans were establishing a colony on one of its planets, and the Empire was determined to extinguish this growing threat before it could spread further. Admiral Varric stood at the bridge of the flagship Ragnarok, his eyes scanning the stars before him. His officers were poised, ready for the order to strike. The battle plan was simple: arrive at the system, bombard the human colony from orbit, and send a clear message. The Empire would not tolerate this insurgency. Admiral, we have reached the target system, said a communications officer, breaking the silence. No signs of resistance yet. Their colony is just a small outpost, sir. Varric's lips curled into a thin smile. This will be over quickly. But as they approached the planet, something unexpected happened. The fleet's sensors began to pick up an anomaly in energy signature that was unlike anything they had ever encountered. It appeared to be coming from the human colony. Report. Varric barked. The sensor officer's voice was trembling. Sir, it's some kind of new technology. It's impossible. Their power grid is emitting a wave of energy, and the readings are fluctuating in ways we've never seen before. They've activated something enormous. Varric's smile faded. What are you saying, officer? Are you telling me the humans have developed a weapon? I don't know, sir, but it's not like anything in our records. Before Varric could respond, a series of bright flashes erupted from the human colony below. The sky itself seemed to tear open as a massive energy pulse shot upward, striking the Empire's fleet with the force of a supernova. The energy field was so powerful that it sent shockwaves across the entire system, disabling several of the Imperial warships in the blink of an eye. What in the Emperor's name? Varric began, but his words were drowned out by alarms blaring throughout the bridge. One by one, Imperial ships began to lose power, their systems flickering and failing. The Ragnarok itself was struck by a bolt of energy, sending tremors through the hull. Damage report. Varric shouted, panic rising in his chest. We've lost communications, sir. Shields are failing. The fleet is in disarray. The officer cried. Varric's heart raced. The humans, primitive, insignificant humans, had just struck a blow to the most powerful military force in the galaxy. And it wasn't just any attack. It was precise, calculated, and devastating. Something had changed. The humans had somehow unlocked a power that the Empire could not even comprehend. What's happening down there? Varric demanded. The comm officer hesitated. Sir, we've just received a transmission from the human colony. Varric's gaze sharpened. Put it on screen. The image that appeared was unlike anything he had expected. A human, no older than 25, stood in front of a massive console, a calm expression on his face. His uniform, though simple, bore the insignia of the human military. To the Empire, the human said, his voice calm but full of determination. We are the humans of Earth. Your empire may have been unchallenged for millennia, but it ends today. You've underestimated us. This is just the beginning. You'll learn to fear us. The transmission ended abruptly, leaving Varric speechless. His mind struggled to process what he had just witnessed. A single human had just declared war on the Empire. This was no longer just about a colony. It was a declaration of war, a challenge to everything the Empire had built. And the humans, with their unrelenting spirit and newfound power, were about to become the Empire's worst nightmare. In the wake of the devastating attack on the Imperial fleet, the humans continued to advance. What had once been a single colony had rapidly expanded into a series of military outposts and research stations. Their technology, though still primitive in comparison to the Empire's, was advancing at an unprecedented rate. The humans had somehow managed to unlock the secrets of the energy weapon that had crippled the Imperial fleet, and they were mass-producing it at an alarming pace. The Empire's response was swift. They sent their most powerful fleets to crush the human resistance before it could grow. But each time they attacked, the humans fought back with even more ferocity and ingenuity. The Empire's most elite soldiers, the Deathbringers, were sent to invade human territory, but they were consistently repelled, their forces overwhelmed by human tactics and weapons that were becoming increasingly advanced. Emperor Nerith, the ruler of the Galactic Empire, watched in growing horror as the human threat spread. He had always believed that the Empire's power was unassailable, that no force in the galaxy could challenge their might. But the humans were proving him wrong. Their adaptability, their capacity for innovation, was unmatched. They were turning the very tide of the galaxy against the Empire. I don't understand, the Emperor said, pacing the throne room. How can this be? They're a primitive race. How are they so powerful? His advisor, a stoic figure with a long, white beard, bowed his head. My Emperor, we have underestimated them. These humans, they are resilient. They are unlike any species we've encountered before. They adapt to every challenge, and they have a capacity for war that defies logic. Then we must destroy them, the Emperor said, his voice cold with fury. No more delays. Send everything we have. crush them once and for all. But as the Empire assembled its most formidable fleets to launch a final assault, the humans did the unthinkable. They attacked first. The humans' counterattack was brutal and swift. Their forces, once scattered and disorganized, had now coalesced into a single, unified front. Human warships, still smaller than the Empire's, were now equipped with advanced weaponry that was specifically designed to exploit the weaknesses of the Imperial fleet. They had studied the Empire's tactics, its weaknesses, and its technological limitations, and had adapted their strategies accordingly. The battle that followed was unlike any the galaxy had ever seen. The Imperial fleet, led by Admiral Varric, engaged the human forces in the outer reaches of the galaxy. But as soon as the first shots were fired, the humans revealed their greatest weapon, an enormous fleet of stealth ships, capable of moving undetected through the battlefield. These ships, unlike anything the Empire had encountered, were armed with devastating energy weapons that disabled Imperial warships before they could even react. Admiral Varric cursed as his fleet began to fall apart around him. Where are they coming from? How are they? The answer came too late. The humans had developed an entire new class of warships, ships that could phase in and out of reality, making them nearly impossible to target. These ships used advanced cloaking technology combined with a devastating new form of energy warfare. The Empire's once dominant fleets were now being ripped apart, their shields failing in the face of the human onslaught. "We can't win this," Varric muttered, his voice heavy with disbelief. How did they do this?" "They learned," the advisor whispered, his voice full of awe and fear. "They learned everything we knew and then surpassed it." The human fleet, which had once been a mere nuisance, was now a force to be reckoned with. And as it pushed deeper into Imperial space, one thing became clear: the Galactic Empire's worst nightmare had come true. The humans were not just a threat to the Empire. They were its undoing. The Empire's military forces were scattered in disarray across the galaxy. No longer could the once mighty Imperial fleet rally together with the same fearsome power it once commanded. With each passing day, the humans pressed further, pushing through Imperial territories with an efficiency that struck fear into the hearts of every officer in the Empire. Admiral Varric was no longer the confident commander he once was. He stood at the bridge of the Ragnarok, his fingers curled into tight fists as he surveyed the dismal results of yet another failed assault. The humans had already breached the defense lines of 3 major systems, their ships appearing out of nowhere like shadows in the night, striking with surgical precision. No matter how many ships the Empire sent, the humans always seemed to have a countermeasure. "They're like a disease," Varric muttered, pacing back and forth. "Every time we try to fight them, they evolve. We can't keep up." His second in command, Commander Darius, watched him with a quiet, resigned expression. "We've underestimated them from the beginning. We believed we were invincible." And now she paused, her gaze turning to the star map. "Now they are everywhere. Their warships are appearing faster than we can track. The humans are not just fighting for survival anymore. They're fighting for something much bigger." Varric stopped pacing and looked up sharply. "What do you mean?" Darius hesitated before speaking. "They believe in something, Varric. They don't just fight for power or revenge. They fight because they believe they're destined to overthrow the Empire and remake the galaxy in their image. And their belief is unshakable." Varric's mind whirled. He had seen countless species rise and fall, empires that had sought to challenge the Empire's supremacy, but none had ever had the determination or the unity that the humans displayed. It was as if they were driven by a collective will, a relentless spirit that no weapon could extinguish. "Then we need to break their resolve," Varric said, his voice quiet but filled with an icy fury. "We must find their leader, the one who has united them. If we can destroy him, we destroy their cause." Darius looked uncertain. "But who is this leader? We've never been able to identify him. It's as if they have no singular commander." Varric nodded grimly. "Then we'll make them reveal him. I will personally oversee the destruction of their fleet." Once their leadership is gone, the rest will crumble. The human fleets continue to advance. As the Empire's largest and most powerful starbases fell to the relentless barrage of human weapons, Emperor Nerith, now frantic and desperate, convened with his highest-ranking generals in a last-ditch effort to stop the human tide. The holographic projections of the galaxy's star systems flickered in front of them, showing vast swathes of territory that had already fallen under human control. "These humans are an existential threat," the Emperor said, his voice strained. "We can't afford to lose any more systems. We must hit them hard and fast before they gain too much ground." A general stepped forward, his voice cautious. "The humans have outmaneuvered us at every turn, Emperor. Their fleets move unpredictably, and they strike with lethal precision. We need more than brute force, we need to anticipate their next move." The Emperor looked up, frustration clouding his features. "Then tell me, General, what we need to do." The general hesitated before speaking again, his eyes scanning the room. "We need to infiltrate their ranks. We need to understand their leaders. They are led by someone. There must be a strategy behind their operations. Once we have that information, we can dismantle their command structure." "We don't have time for that," the Emperor snapped, slamming his fist onto the table. "Every day we wait, they gain more ground. We need action now, or they will destroy us." Another officer, a woman with silver hair and a calm demeanor, spoke up. "Perhaps we could strike directly at their heart. There are rumors, whispers, that the humans have developed a new kind of superweapon, something they call the Heart of the Storm. If we find it, we might be able to neutralize them in one blow." "Then we do it," the Emperor ordered. "We find this Heart of the Storm. We destroy it, and we show the humans that the Empire is invincible." But in the vast reaches of the galaxy, unbeknownst to the Empire, the humans were preparing their most audacious move yet. The Heart of the Storm was not a weapon in the traditional sense. It was something far more dangerous. For the humans, it represented the culmination of years of research, a project that had begun when their resistance against the Empire had first gained traction. Deep within a hidden research facility on a remote planet, a group of human scientists, engineers, and military commanders worked tirelessly, combining their most advanced technology with forbidden techniques discovered in the ancient ruins of lost civilizations. They had created a device, an energy core capable of unleashing destruction on an unimaginable scale. Captain Iris Valen, one of the foremost leaders of the human resistance, had been chosen to oversee the final stages of the Heart's activation. She had always believed that humanity was destined for greatness, that they were meant to become the galaxy's true rulers. Their survival was no longer just about survival, it was about reshaping the future. Standing before the massive containment chamber, Captain Valen observed the swirling energy field within. The Heart of the Storm was a thing of terrifying beauty, a rotating sphere of plasma and dark matter, contained within an intricate matrix of hyperdimensional energy fields. "This is it," Iris said, her voice low, reverent. "We can end this war now. With this weapon, we can cripple the Empire's entire fleet in one strike." Her chief engineer, Dr. Cale Trivon, nodded grimly. "It's a one-time shot. The power needed to activate it will destroy the core itself. We will have no second chance." "I'm willing to risk it," Iris said, her voice filled with determination. "The Empire will never know what hit them." As the final activation sequence began, the Heart's energy levels skyrocketed, sending pulses of destructive force through the surrounding area. Valen's eyes gleamed with a mixture of awe and anticipation. This weapon, born from the depths of human ingenuity, would be their ticket to victory. Back in the Empire, Varric had launched the final assault against the human colonies, convinced that their forces were spread too thin and vulnerable. As he moved his fleet toward the human homeworlds, he remained unaware of the full scale of the threat they faced. His goal was simple: destroy the leadership, wipe out the human fleets, and crush their resistance. But as the battle unfolded, a troubling report came in. A massive, concentrated burst of energy was detected, one far more powerful than anything the humans had ever deployed before. "What is this?" Varric demanded, his voice sharp with alarm. It's coming from the human-controlled system, sir, the sensor officer responded, his face pale. We can't pinpoint it. It's the heart of the storm. They're activating it. Activate full shields. Varric ordered. All ships, prepare for evasive maneuvers. But it was too late. A wave of energy erupted from the heart of the storm, a pulse so powerful that it tore through space itself. The leading ships of the Imperial fleet were engulfed by the shockwave, their shields disintegrating as the energy ripped them apart from the inside out. In seconds, entire battalions of warships were reduced to smoldering debris. Varric's heart raced as the energy wave continued to spread, ravaging the Empire's once mighty fleet. No matter how much they fought, they could not withstand the destructive power of the heart. In the midst of the chaos, the humans launched a final, coordinated strike. Their fleets, bolstered by the heart's power, descended upon the Empire's command worlds, overwhelming the last vestiges of Imperial resistance. The Empire, once an unstoppable force, was crumbling before their eyes. The humans had become the Empire's worst nightmare, relentless, adaptable, and now, with the power to reshape the galaxy in their own image. Part 9: The Fall of the Empire. The destruction was swift and brutal. As the heart of the storm pulsed again and again, Imperial warships, once the pride of the Galactic Empire, fell like leaves in a storm. The heart of the Empire's might was being shredded, and there was no escaping the overwhelming tide of human determination and newfound power. Admiral Varric, his face pale and his hands shaking from the chaotic destruction unfolding around him, stood at the shattered command deck of the Ragnarok. His flagship, the symbol of the Empire's dominance, was a husk, its engines crippled, its weapons systems offline, and its communication network cut off. Report! Varric shouted, his voice barely audible over the blaring alarms. The communications officer, a young officer whose voice was thick with panic, responded shakily. Sir, the fleet's been torn apart. Our ships. They're gone. We're the last ones left. The heart of the storm is unstoppable. Varric's eyes blazed with a mix of fury and disbelief. This can't be happening. Not like this. We're the Empire. We crush anything in our path. But the truth of the situation was undeniable. The humans had turned the tide of war with a single weapon, a weapon that the Empire had underestimated from the start. It wasn't just their technology that had made them formidable, it was their resolve. Their belief that they were destined to be the rulers of the galaxy had fueled their relentless march toward victory. As Varric gripped the armrests of his chair, something inside him broke. The Empire, the great institution he had fought for his entire life, was no more. It was crumbling. And there was nothing left to do but fight to the bitter end. But even as he prepared for one last, futile stand, a voice echoed in his mind, one that had haunted him ever since the first signs of the human threat emerged. You were right to fear them, the advisor's voice whispered in his memory. The humans are no ordinary species. They are a force of nature, like a storm. And no matter how strong the Empire is, storms cannot be controlled. The imperial capital, the jewel of the Empire, was under siege. Once a beacon of power and control, it now sat under the shadow of the human onslaught. The imperial palace, a sprawling monument to the Empire's superiority, had become a target. The ground was littered with the ruins of imperial defenses, and the sky above was filled with the flickering lights of burning ships. The humans had infiltrated the capital's outer defenses with ease, their fleets moving with a deadly precision. The last remaining Imperial forces, those who had managed to escape the destruction of the fleet, were holding the line, fighting desperately, but hopelessly. They could see the writing on the wall. The Empire's final bastion was about to fall. Emperor Nerith stood before the grand throne room, his regal attire tattered and stained from the chaos that had erupted. The once proud ruler of the Galactic Empire was now a shell of his former self. He had watched as the Empire's greatest fleets were shattered. He had heard the reports of entire systems falling. His dream of galactic domination was dying, crushed by the humans. They were never meant to be a threat, Nerith muttered to himself, pacing in the empty throne room. We should have destroyed them when we had the chance. His advisor, the same shadowy figure who had warned of the human threat, approached from behind. It is too late for regrets, my emperor. The humans have already won. Nerith turned sharply. What do you mean? There is still time to retaliate. I will not let them take everything we've built. The advisor's face was unreadable, his hooded eyes staring into the emperor's soul. There is no more time. They have already become the new rulers of the galaxy. Nerith's heart sank. He had never expected to hear such words, especially not from his closest confidant. But the advisor's words carried a truth that could not be ignored. The humans had outmaneuvered them at every turn, had adapted and grown stronger with every attack. There was no turning back now. As the final battles raged on around the Imperial capital, Captain Iris Valen stood on the command deck of the human flagship, the Victory's Edge. Her heart was pounding as she watched the Empire's defenses crumble before her fleet. The destruction they had caused was beyond anything she had imagined. Imperial ships were being torn apart, cities were burning, and the once mighty Empire was finally being reduced to dust. This is it, Iris said, her voice steady despite the enormity of what was happening. The Empire is finished. The galaxy will be ours. Her chief strategist, Dr. Kale Trivon, looked over at her, a hint of unease in his eyes. Iris, are you sure this is what we want? We've fought for so long to win, but the galaxy will never be the same. The balance has shifted. Can we really govern this vast expanse? Will we be any different from the empire we just toppled? Iris considered his words carefully. She had always believed that the humans were destined to lead the galaxy, that they had been chosen for greatness. But now, as the empire lay in ruins, she realized that the weight of this victory was not one to bear lightly. We will be different, Iris replied firmly. We've fought for this. Every single one of us has bled for this moment. We will rebuild the galaxy, not in the image of the empire, but in the image of the human spirit. Freedom, innovation, and unity will be the new pillars of the galaxy. The old order is dead. It's time for a new era. And so, as the last imperial strongholds fell, the humans began to solidify their dominance over the galaxy. The remaining imperial forces surrendered, their leaders either captured or killed. The systems once governed by the empire now became part of the human collective. But Iris knew that the real work was just beginning. The galaxy would need healing. It would need guidance. And most importantly, it would need leadership, true leadership, free of the arrogance and tyranny that had defined the empire. As the dust settled, Iris Valen stood at the helm of the human fleet, gazing out into the stars. They had won. But with that victory came a responsibility far greater than any they had imagined. Months passed, and the galaxy slowly began to shift under the new order. The humans, having established their foothold as the dominant power, began the process of reorganization. But they were different from the empire. They had learned from the empire's mistakes. The humans did not seek to dominate, to enslave, or to conquer in the same way. They sought to unite. A galactic council was formed, one that included representatives from all of the former imperial systems, from every species they had encountered. It was an imperfect council, to be sure, filled with struggles and disagreements, but it was a step toward something new, a galaxy where no one species ruled with an iron fist. As for Iris Valen, she was appointed as the leader of the human-led council, not as an emperor or ruler, but as a symbol of the new era. She was not the embodiment of conquest, but of resilience. The humans had overcome the impossible, and now it was their duty to ensure that the galaxy would never again fall under the sway of tyranny. The message was clear: the galaxy had changed. The old empire was gone. And with it, the reign of the humans as the rulers of the galaxy had begun. But Iris knew that with every new beginning came challenges. The galaxy was vast, and not everyone would accept this new order. There would be those who sought power, those who would resist. But the humans had proven that they were capable of extraordinary things. They had proven that, against all odds, they could rise from nothing and defeat the most powerful empire the galaxy had ever known. As Iris stood at the helm of the new galactic government, staring into the infinite stars beyond, she knew that this was only the beginning. The empire had been destroyed. And in its place, humanity had become the galaxy's greatest force, not through fear or domination, but through unity, perseverance, and the belief that anything was possible.